Oh, hello, and a million more times hello. Welcome to a new video. I am person, I don't know. Point is, you know who I am. This is not your first video. If it is, hello, welcome to my YouTube video where I sit down on my floor and we talk. That's all I do. I talk because what else am I going to do all day? I do vlogs here and there. I might do a vlog next week. Don't hold me to it. But we do sit down videos and we talk. Well, I talk and you listen, or you can talk as well. Who knows? But I sit down and I just talk about things, about life, about things I've done in the past and how it affects me now, or things I've done at work and how I'm going to push it forward to this day, or what I've learned. And this is like my little diary where I do everything and all the things I want without persecution, without having people tell me you can't do this or you can't do that. Basically, this is my life story written by me, though edited for YouTube. Otherwise, I probably would be on a streaming channel right now talking about my life for 24 hours, which sounds like trauma dumping. I promise you it's not. It's not. It's never that. It's never that. It would be free though, but it's never that. Anyway, welcome. It is a brand new day. It is very sunny on the camera. I'm loving the glow. Ring lights, invest, for real. They are very good. But it is Thursday, September. Oh my God, can you believe it? September 5th. And tomorrow's the 6th, which means nothing, but it's almost a weekend, per usual, and I love that for myself. So, we are back on my floor, because I worked at home again, though I'll be on my floor anyway, even if I didn't. But last week, if you watched it, if not, check it out here or here, wherever it's going to pop up. I talked about resumes and resume building. Oh my God, can you believe it? No. Okay, I talked about resumes and what I've done for my resume, which got me internships and later on a full-time role to this day, because as we all know, the bread and the butter and the fork and the knife and everything is the resume. And then all the extra stuff is the stuff they want, like the experience, the project, whatever. But they all go in the resume. So the resume is where the meaty part of the bread of the sandwich is. And that's really what I talked about. And if you want to check it out here. Check it out on my channel somewhere. Who knows where it is at this point. But today I am talking more about my internship experience and really what I learned from it. And no, this won't be like, oh my God, snooze fast, here we go. No, if you read the title, that's probably why you're here. But I did not have that great an internship experience in college, and we're gonna get into that. So roll intro. So let's just say this happened during college, going to senior year, but junior year summer, basically. Let me set the scene for you, okay? So as you know, I'm based in Chicago, so my internship was in Chicago. So I had to go in the office, and this was like kind of out of COVID, so we were going to the office like every single day except for like Fridays or whatever. Or whenever we really had an outbreak of COVID, we would not go in the office for 2 weeks because safety first, of always. So in my role, I am an engineer by major, but in this firm that I was working with, I was product manager at the place. And this company was split between product managers, marketing interns, and software developer interns. And in total, in the Chicago office, there were about 30 of us. There was a lot of kids. There's a lot of us. There's like 30. But as an internship, that is kind of regular. It's when you get full-time, it's like 10 people. That's when you really start to be like, where do all these kids went? But anyway, this internship happens, right? We're all getting to know each other. We're like, hey, I'm product. Hey, I'm software. Hey, I'm marketing. Also, for marketing, there's like 3 of them. Not sure why, but there's 3 marketing, like 15 software, maybe 12 or whatever product. There was a lot more software because we will get to that. But essentially, we were split into teams because each team was given their own projects to stimulate what would happen if they worked in a real company, in a real project, if you worked in an actual firm, or if you just had this full-time role. This was literally giving us real life experience, which if you have ever had a different internship or a class, you don't usually get those. They usually come in like paperwork or tedious printing and whatever. But in this one, we were actually giving like real work that was still theoretical in a sense because they weren't real, but they were experience that we could put on my resume. And if you clocked it, my last episode, I kind of did. I didn't tell you what company it was, but it was on there. Anyway, we get split up into each group, right? My group consists of 3 product managers, including me, and like 6 or 7 softwares. So as you can tell, there's probably like 2 or 3 actual groups where there's a little bit of product, but a lot of software, which is making sense, right? In the real world, you need like 100 developers and like 2 product managers to really like reel them in or like make sure you're on the track, whatever the reason. But it made sense for us, right? And during this role, we were working with this theoretical client that has stand-ups every day, that wants to do like a retrospective every week to make sure we're working on the design of the project, to make sure we were talking with our theoretical clients about it or theoretical users for it, getting feedback from the initial owners, to make sure we were on track. And the people who had to do all the talking were product managers, which is me and 2 other people on my team. At this point, we're all getting to know each other because you kind of have to. Otherwise, you can't really do a lot of work. But people were doing within your circle. So even though the softwares were doing their own thing, us as product managers had to make sure to talk to them, even though we were purposely separated from them when it came to being on this project. Because we were always talking to the client and the software always, doing their own thing in a separate place. But we had to purposely go to them every single time, which was good for us, but also a little nerve-wracking because it wasn't like we knew these people for like a week and then we started to separate. We separated the first day. And then we're told, yeah, you're going to meet with these other software interns. And it was like, yikes. We have 6 weeks, but I have to talk to these people. It was fine. There was 3 of us. We weren't going to like, yeah, you go talk to these people. Anyway, but basically, this is where you guys all came from. A little breakdown of how we almost got fired. So it kind of happened. We're going to fast forward to start. It kind of happened like, this is a 3-month internship because obviously it's summertime. So this kind of happened during the 2nd month of us being there. And we're already getting like a lot of research in for this client, the theoretical client, a lot of theoretical work in, a lot of user personas, a lot of Jira, if you know, you know. And we're working with the software, and all 3 of the product managers are supposed to talk to them, right? Make sure we're telling them whatever the owner said so we don't have a misunderstanding because we're literally the middlemen. If we don't do it correctly, the project could fail because of us, right? So, as we're going in for the next day, because this was all planned out the day before, because when you do stand-up, you tell them what you're going to do the day of, the day before, what you done before, all that jazz. So the next day, there's only 2 of us. It's me and the other product manager who we knew were coming in the office. The 3rd one didn't show up. We didn't know why. We just knew he wasn't there. We didn't think much of it because, internships happen between classes, between people's lives. We're all students, like whatever. So that day, we just talked to the software. We did it by ourselves. It was whatever. It was good. It was cool. Fast forward a few more days. It's hitting Thursday. We don't really see this person. And we're wondering, oh, is this person not here? What are we doing? We talked to our recruiter / coach / manager, the person who basically interviewed us but also was working with us. She's cool. She's great. I love her. But we talked to her. We're like, what happened? And she was like, oh, took a few days off because, he, I don't know, like vacation. It wasn't anything serious at the time. So we really was like, oh, we don't have to worry about him leaving or anything. So next thing you know, next week comes in and we're still talking to software. We're still doing all the work ourselves because even though we're not actively working on the project with our software fingers, we are actively working on the research, the Jira, making every PowerPoint, making sure all the information that's being taken by the client is sent to the softwares, making sure we do meetings with them like almost every day or every other day. And then the person comes back and we're like, cool, great, how are you? Are you good? They're like, yeah, we're great, whatever. We're like, great. Gets it back in the grind. We only have like a month and a half to really show up, show out for our client. And if you've done an internship, they always want you to do like this really big project that you worked on to show that you really did something. Otherwise, you don't get a return offer, whatever. Or at least sometimes, right? In other internships, they don't have you do anything. But we basically have the next week over. And this person isn't doing any real work. Now, at first we didn't notice it, right? At first we literally were like, okay, maybe they're just like not in the groove yet. So we tell them all the things we've done the week prior to have them get caught up so they don't have to do research on their own. They can access for help because we're literally in a group and we've known each other for like a month and a half, which in friendship terms, we're basically best friends at this point. We know each other like this. I don't know, like that. I don't know, but like we talk, and we're telling this person like, hey, if you need help, let us know. We're right, like we're not gonna leave you. We're literally sitting together, like right, like we're all in the same spot. And they're like, okay, great. So I'm gonna basically that week we came in, this person came in with us, and we were all deciding of how to break down this project because there was three of us and we did not all need to work on the exact same thing, otherwise we would spend 8 hours doing nothing at the end of the day. So we broke it down. We said one person can work on this project, one person can work on this project, one person can do this and talk to the softwares. That way we won't all be correlating on each other's work, making adjustments to each other's work, and then actually at the end of the day do nothing because we're just doing too much, right? And we broke it down away and we agreed on what we're gonna do. So then a day goes by, we're doing great. We don't have no meetings. The next day we go by, we're doing great. We have stand up, we're doing great. We're being told like you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing great. The day after that, third day in, this person came back. We were like, okay, let's talk about what we've done because we spend like 3 days doing it. Let's see what we've done. We come back together with the softwares and we're like, okay, so this person, the person who was gone, was supposed to talk to you. Did they ever talk to you? And they were like, they did, yeah. And we were like, okay, great. Did you like understand what we said? Da, 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 thinking that this person told them the correct information. And they were like, no, we didn't really understand it, but we did like this. And we were like, oh, okay. Like, bit of a misunderstanding, but those were expected, right? And then we get to the actual reports, the projects, our sections that we've done, and we looked at each other's work, and we kind of see something different. The person who was gone, who came back, his work was different. And we kind of looked at it and we were like, interesting, why is your work super different than the rest of us? We told you what to do and how to do it, but we didn't say like that. We were very like non-confrontational. So we were like, oh, that's not how you do it. Like, let us show you, because in the end of the day, like we are all working on this project. We want to have a good grade. If one person doesn't understand, we must make up for the rest of it, right? So we do that. That's the third day in the second week. And at this point we had like about a month to really finish everything. And we're kind of falling behind because we're catching up a person, but also because we're making up for the mistakes that were made, which is fair. It's fine. Like if you miss a week, you're gonna make mistakes, whatever. So we're like, okay, we're gonna work on this together and we're gonna have no issues. And this person was like, cool, great, let's get it done. I'm like, perfect. We still have half a week left. It's only, let's say, a Wednesday. We still have that Thursday, not Friday. And that weekend, if we really must. They told us not to work on the weekends. We don't listen. Doesn't matter. The next day, right, we make plans to work on some things at home. Just a little research, just a little bit of content information so we can come in the office the next day and really understand what we need to do. The next day, we all do it. No problem. We're all great. The only issue was one of us may have wrote an entire research essay about what we should be doing other than what we already done and how to improve on it. Okay. This is where it gets a little interesting. So we come in on this Thursday. Let's say it's a Thursday. I'm gonna picture it for you. We're in the office, right? We're sitting down on our lovely little desk chairs, whatever, and we're all kind of sitting next to each other. And we're basically doing a little show and tell. We're telling each other, this is what I did last night, or this is what I done, this is the research I got. This is all before our first meeting with the client. We're like, this is what we're gonna tell the client, da, da, da. This person comes out and it's like, oh, look at what I've done. And it's like 5 pages of like a Word document of like bullet points, things to change that we already worked on, things that we never really talked about. And he's presenting it to the client without us knowing about it. So we were told by this person, hey, this is what I did. And we're like, okay, that's a lot. We didn't expect it. We kind of felt a little slow because we were like, oh, maybe we should have done more. But then they go ahead and they present it to the client as their own, which it is their own, but we never agreed on everything that was said yet. It was just like, oh, show and tell, but we weren't supposed to tell to anyone but ourselves until we agreed on it. And you might be thinking, maybe they just want to get ahead of the issue and just say it, and I would believe you. This is something that I would do too. Like, I would have them be like, oh, this is something we could do, but the issue was, it wasn't that they went ahead and did it. It was the content of what they wrote that rubbed us the wrong way initially. And at this point, this person's been gone a week for vacation, I assume, right? They went home. They didn't live in the city, so they went home to the suburbs, still the jazz, whatever. Came back, made a few mishaps. We work with them. It's great. It's whatever. Per usual, as always, you must always help your coworkers. But they come back and they kind of rework the things we already done when they were not here. And you would think, oh, they have their own input, but it was like you presented as if it was factual that we all agree, when in reality you didn't. So now you caught up. Okay, I gotta stretch out for this one. But essentially, the client loves it. They're like, oh, okay, do it. Because they really just assumed that we all agreed. And they were like, oh, this is so detailed, this is so great. But in reality, it was off track of what we had to do for our project. They just didn't know it at the time, because we weren't telling them everything. We just told them what we were working on at that moment. That made them believe we were doing a lot of work. But we never told the software developers that we were going to change anything. And now here is this person telling the client, here's what we're going to change. Here's how we're going to do it. And the other two of us, we couldn't deny it. You can't go into client work and tell them, oh, actually, we're not going to do that. We're not going to argue about it in front of the client. We're going to take it as word, go back, and then be like, let's revise. Let's work on it. It's not something we really should think about all at once without even talking to the software, because we don't know if they can even do it. The work they already done took days to weeks, and they worked on the weekends without having to do so. So we weren't going to be like, oh, we got to tell them to fix all the things they were doing. So we had to tell this person, hey, let's breathe. Let's take a breather. Let's literally sit down and rework it. And they were not that happy about that. They seemed not defensive, but they seemed a bit stubborn. And you wouldn't tell. It was like a passive aggressive type of stubborn. Because at first you were like, oh, this person just have their own way of doing things, and that's fair, right? But then it was like, oh, this person doesn't even want to change their ways. And even the things we told them when they had to catch up, they never seemed to be like, oh, they're eager to help. I'm gonna do it. They still thought to do it themselves, basically. I'm gonna take our word for it when we said we couldn't do it, or we couldn't do it in the time we had left, especially with everything going on. So we kind of assumed, which is kind of on us, but me and the other person, we just assumed that this person will just take our word for it, and then we'll come back and reconvene together with the software so that we can actually get a working plan. That way we can finish the rest of the project, because as I said, this is theoretical, it's not even a real client. As serious as we should make it, we shouldn't act like we're losing billions of dollars if we don't do something to the T, right? So we still knew at the end of the day, it's all about what we learn, not what we're trying to get. I don't know what that meant, but And so, this is sound like a winded story. Let's run to the bottom. Let's run to the end. So then the last 2 weeks come by, right? Several weeks go by, and we're doing meetings. We're still talking. We're still trying to get the last finished touches to it, and this person isn't cooperating anymore with us. I couldn't tell you why. I don't believe me and the other person did anything to make them feel some type of way to not trust us anymore. But after the initial talk of maybe let's not do that Word document that you sent out, as lovely as it is, it was way too much work for the short amount of time we had with everything on top of it. But they were just doing different things. They did their own PowerPoint, they did their own work. They were telling the software developers something different that we didn't even know about because we weren't there. They were just email them or text them or go to their section and say, hey, what would this and that? What would this and that? And they were like, oh, okay. But we were never told, because we were never told these things, even though we were all product managers and we're all sharing a role. So when we come to a client meeting, they will be the one talking about their section. And their section was always different than our section. And every time we try to be like, hey, maybe let's talk about it. What did you do? And they would be like, oh, I did this, that. And we're like, no, we can't. And then even talking with the softwares, they would be confused because they're like, I thought you said something else. And we're like, we did. We really did. And so at this point, we were kind of worried, as we should be. It was literally 2 weeks before we had to present. The main PowerPoint wasn't even worked on at all. We're still trying to figure out the information that we were supposed to do versus the one that they were trying to push on us to do, which I know you're we could have not done it or whatever, but they were already telling the client, telling the software to do something else entirely, and we haven't even done it yet. We never even wrote down a script. made the connection, made the drawings, made the design, made the anything. It was just like all in the air about what we were trying to do. And so we had to tell the manager. We were trying not to for so long. We sound like, oh my god, I made us sound like Karens. We had to speak to the manager. Goodness, what can we do? Anyway, we tried very hard. It's been like 2 months of almost like work put upon us by this third person, and we just couldn't do it anymore. Because on top of that, they weren't even talking to us regularly about what they were doing. It was just like, oh, we'll do it on our own. We'll do it at home. We'll do it like with the softwares. They won't tell you. And then when we asked the softwares, they just seemed confused because they thought we knew. And then we're like, why? Like what? Like, we weren't even speaking with you. Like we usually speak together. And we told our manager. And we were like, please do something, because we can't. If you ever interview me and you watch this video, what I'm about to say didn't happen, but for everyone else, it very much did happen, allegedly. But basically, we had talked to the manager and we wanted them to kick this person off our team. Because at this point, we were actually like a 2-person team. Only 2 of us did the actual work, and the other person brought actual theoretical work we haven't done yet, but we're willing to do if the client was saying yes to it. The thing is, the client loved it without knowing what we were doing, and this third person didn't even do it, even though he told the client. You see what the problem is? Like, why are you telling people you want to do something, but then not do it yourself, when we are not even the ones saying we want to do it? Like, you're the one saying, oh, we can do this to the client, and then we're looking at you like, no, we cannot do that, we cannot. And then you go ahead and you tell the client all this stuff. We look at you like, okay, go do it then, because that's on you. We can't help you because we have other things to do. And then days go by, nothing's done. Now, the way I'm acting in the camera is very different to how to act in real life. Real life, we were skittish. Me and the other product, we were just like, we understand they're trying, but they're making it very hard for us to work, and it's making it hard for us to get the trust of the software, because now they think we're fighting, and we're not. We just don't even see this other person. We can't fight with a person who's not there. And our manager was like, oh, just keep it going. Like, try your best, try your hardest to get it to the point where you can actually get a working product. And we were like, oh my god, we're gonna get fired. So long story short, we never actually got fired, clearly, but we did almost think we were going to get fired, only because when it came to presenting, the presentation would have taken a week if we did everything on time and we took our time making sure all the work was done pretty and make sure it had a good color sequence, because templates had to look nice or whatever. We took 2 days to make it. And I don't say that to boast. I do not say that to boast. There's nothing to boast about. There's nothing to hurrah about. We literally had to work all day and night. Like, we went home because I think we presented like the following. So that weekend we worked on it. And when I mean me and the other product manager who were working together from the start. The third person was still doing something else, doing anything but that part. And we tried our best. We gave this person everything we worked on. We gave this person the PowerPoint that we were actively on. We gave them whatever we could. And to this day, well, not to this day, but back then, it was like talking to a brick wall and sending everything you wanted to give them to the trash, like a copy of it to the trash. Like, why would you even try? And now I can just be like, wow, this person really made my internship harder than what it needed to be. And obviously, like, in the real world, you will find people like that, but it was just so annoying because it's like, if I ever told you, it was my first internship I ever had in college. Why are you here if you're just gonna ruin the experience for everyone else, knowing you have to be in a team but you don't listen to anyone, and then you don't do anything to work? So that really pissed me off. But you know, you can't be pissed off in a work environment. You have to be cordial, mindful, very demure. So that's what we had to be, very demure. And we made sure we did the project to the best of our abilities. And guess what we didn't do? We didn't put their name on the PowerPoint, which was very not demure. It was very not demure, even though he was there to present it, which is ironic. He didn't work on it. But yeah, but we didn't put their name on it. We were actually told not to by a manager. They were like, do not put their name on it. And we were like, okay. So long story short, it was done. It was completed. it took extra work on our part and on the software's part, which I'm so sorry to them because they're already doing 20 different languages and had to work with our language too, because we were going back and forth about what to tell them and like what to say, how to fix what the other person did to them, and we were just like, we're so sorry that you had to experience a mess that we were putting on you. We're literally supposed to help you with the mess that the client put on us, but everything worked out in the end. We ended up figuring it out. We ended up telling our manager. A few people didn't know about it prior to, like some people were like, how did you deal with this? And how did the person even react? And we were like, we couldn't even say it. Like we did, but we never like fully told because we were like feeling not embarrassed, but we felt kind of bad because it was like, do we want to tell this person's stuff to the rest of the client, like to the rest of the internship, like, oh, look what this person did to us, how we almost like lost the project because they wouldn't listen to us. So that, like, we just really just felt like, no, like they did this, yeah, they did do that. And the thing is, this person, I'm not sure if I should say that, but let's say this person had like a whole, I'm not even sure what's a lighter way to say a meltdown before. Okay, so little detail, this person, like you would think this person just like started off being the type of way they were because of the project. No, there was 2 weeks when we were training. Literally, you train for like 2 weeks before you do any project, at least in my internship. And within 2 weeks, we were all in the same classroom together, separated by software and product and marketing, whatever. And in one of the sessions for the training, they had a breakdown. And it wasn't caused by a personal issue, a family issue, none of that issue. But they had a breakdown. They had a breakdown because they assumed that the rest of us, let me tell you, they assumed that the rest of us in the class did not care about the lesson because when our camera was off, some of us would be asleep, some of us would literally be on our phones, some of us would be talking to each other very quietly so we don't disturb, who's on the camera, talking to us through the lessons. But they got a meltdown. They literally screamed at us and was like, you guys do not care about your lesson. And we were like, very, very flabbergasted. I'm not gonna lie, we were very, very flabbergasted. And somehow they didn't get kicked out of the training or the internship because it was like week 1. So when you getting kicked out, you're just gonna be told to calm down, go back in like the next day. We never got an apology though. Never. And then we got this person for our project. And guess who wasn't paying attention to the lesson, but yet blamed everyone else? This person. So yeah, very karma, not very demure, not at all mindful, especially not the way they spoke with us, but that happened. And when we were given our return offers like the day after. It was based on the scores we got for our project. So as I said, we had 3 teams and each team had like so number of like marketing, software, product, whatever. And based on how your project scored is whether or not you got a return offer. Because as I said before, it wasn't about how much money you saved the theoretical client, it's about the experience you learned. And you learned that through the PowerPoint. So there were some people who did not get a return offer. They weren't on my team. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. But some people didn't get it. Most people did, so that was great. But I think I can say it now. It's been like 2 years. But this person that was with us, not only did they not show up on the day we're supposed to have gotten like a yes and no for return offer, we had to go back in the office this day. They also never actually got the return offer. But here's the thing, they didn't know that. They did not know they were not going to get a return offer. They just didn't show up. So we really had to, we were all kind of like, okay, yeah, we understand that this person either knew they weren't going to get it or they just didn't care enough. And they went back to like their hometown, to their school. Okay, this time it was August anyway, so school was about to start up. And yep. And that's the end of the story. How we all almost got because it's kind of clickbaity. The title is very clickbaity, but understand that if we didn't tell the manager at first, we would have probably been in the same shoes they were, and we would have also have been under the same boat of not getting a return offer. Now, granted, I'm not in that company. I chose a different job, but I did get a return offer. Yay. But I understand that we would have all been in that same boat if we didn't let the person know. So I would have had a pretty bad internship experience because of that person. I mean, I still did, granted. It wasn't the worst that could have happened, but it was like nerve-wracking to come in the last day and be like, am I going to be punished because of this one person? But like, we also told people. So it was like, we're narking, but for a job. We're narking for a job, and we needed it. So, you know, it's not that much of a clickbait. But anyway, my Ring camera just turned off, so that's fun. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Honestly, it's like a mini rant. I don't care. Who cares? It's been like 2 years. The reason I'm even talking about this is because it's just, now I can laugh about it because it was so funny. But back then it was like, what is this person doing? And should I like be more concerned that this is how my project is going? But in reality, I'm just glad about the experience because I talked about it in a interview, and it was like so funny. Of course, I had to change it to be like, oh no, we did ourselves. We worked it out ourselves, because you know they want you to never talk to anyone higher up. I don't know why, but that's a little rant. Okay, I might have a little rant next week. I'm not really sure. These rants are kind of fun. I like ranting, but like never trauma dumping. We don't do that here. Everything we do has a lesson in it. Okay, everything we do, there is a lesson to be learned, and this lesson is, don't take everything don't come in a project salty, right? Don't come into a job salty. Even if you don't get the thing you want, even if you have to struggle to meet the bare minimum, don't come into it salty. Because you come into something salty, could ruin your chances to get something bigger, right? And if I came into that internship salty, even after what the person did, I could potentially not have gotten a return offer. Now, I didn't take it. I said yes, but I rescinded it. But I didn't take it at the end of the day, because I got a better offer. But if my experience was bad and I needed a referral, I would have been screwed, because they would have been like, this person got fired, or this person wasn't even liked. That would ruin my chances to get my current company, right? So if someone's making your company salty, look for a new position, always. But also, keep your head up, because they're going to be the ones drowning while you're the one working your way up to where you need to be. So that's all I need to say. So anyway, this is Population Me, where I talk about my journey, my experience, my opinions, my thoughts and issues without trauma dumping. And this is me signing off, really. Next week will be whatever I want it to be. Honestly, I don't know. Summer, by now, whenever this comes out, it will be over. But right now, it is still September 5th, and summer is getting a little cold, but you know, we can still do so much stuff that I haven't vlogged yet. Maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, talk to you guys next week. And please, like, share, and subscribe to learn more and get more information, because that helps the algorithm and me out. Thank you. Bye-bye.